Now, the Kenya Coffee Planters Association is pushing for continued reforms to save the coffee sector. The workers are blaming the management for the current woes in the industry. Brian George Otieno with the details.
Smallholder coffee farmers remain the biggest producers of coffee in Kenya, producing between 60 to 70% of the total coffee production in Kenya. On average, production returns tune to $230 million annually. This will not be the case this year thanks to COVID-19.
When we talk about governance, there are two aspects that we need to look at. From the regulations that we normally use as the cooperators, farmer is supposed to be paid 80%, and the society is supposed to use 20% for the operations. But when you look at how the industry has been performing, when we get farmers' advance, the farmers' advance is usually borrowed by the cooperative. But most of the farmers never paid things like interest on the advance.
However, it's not the pandemic alone that will stop coffee returns from reaching their full potential. The Kenya Coffee Planters Association argue that administrative and management issues have affected production.
Previously, we would proud ourselves to be ahead of Uganda. Uganda is coming up, has already overtaken us in terms of production. But in terms of quality, we are ahead of Uganda.
The association maintains that inadequate efforts to address continued decline in coffee production from 130,000 in the 80s to the current 40,000 metric tons has dented earnings for farmers. Kenya lost the Japanese and Korea markets after chemical residues and okra toxin OTA were recently discovered to be above the maximum allowable limits in Kenyans exported coffee. This complicates the situation even further.
And you know, sometimes when we are talking about international trade, most of the countries do the trade as a block. So once one country flags a certain product, there is always that information that is accumulated within the specific block.
The association is now calling for dialogue, elaborate mitigation measures to encourage more domestic consumption of coffee to cushion the industry from adverse effects. Brian George Otieno, KTN Business.
That's it for business news. Up next, we take a look at what's